welcome back everyone. So this is just going to be a super quick fix-it video for the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now, as the title of this video would suggest, I've been having some problems with my flasher relay. More precisely, my electronic flasher unit. So what exactly is that? Well, it's a very simple relay on a motorcycle that has one specific function, and that is to control the blinking of both your directionals and, in my case, the hazard lights as well. Now again, this is a 2021 Himalayan that does have the hazard lights, but if you have an older model of the Himalayan, your flasher unit will only control your blinkers. And quite frankly, you'll have a simpler flasher unit as well as one that's easier to come by. So as far as what my problem has been, well, it's really simple. My flasher unit stopped working. So I was coming back from a ride way back in January, and when I went to turn my blinker on, I noticed that it was coming on, but it wasn't blinking. So I tried the other blinker and it was doing the same thing, and I even tried the hazard lights and they were also just coming on. And so I pretty much immediately diagnosed the problem as a faulty flasher relay. I had a very similar problem on my motorcycle like 20 years ago, so I was fairly convinced that it would just be a matter of popping out the relay, getting a replacement, and swapping it out. And typically that part is usually pretty standard across most bikes, so I just thought if I stopped at the motorcycle shop in town, I'd be able to get a replacement. However, once I located it on the bike and actually took it out and then looked it up online, I realized that it was a very model-specific relay, and not only was it specific to the newer model of the Himalayan, but it was impossible to find anywhere online. I looked at all the places in India, I looked everywhere, and I could not find the relay. I posted about it on forums, nobody knew what the heck I was talking about, nobody recognized the part. So clearly I was one of the first people with the new model to have this problem. So I called up my local Royal Enfield dealership, I told them what the part was, I sent them a picture of it, and they said they would order me a replacement, but that it would likely take a while to come in. So in the meantime, what I thought I would try is at least one last-ditch Hail Mary effort to try and get my existing relay to work again while I was waiting for the replacement part to come in. So because a relay is really just an electronically controlled mechanical switch, sometimes they do get stuck, and sometimes an easy way to fix it is to literally just take the relay out and tap it on a hard surface to unstick it and then plug it back in and it works again. And so lo and behold, I tried this, I took the relay out, tapped it on the table, plugged it back in, and everything was working again. And so hip hip hooray, patted myself on the back, and I went about my day. Now, weeks and weeks went by, months went by, and I never had another issue with the relay. So I was ready to chalk it up to some sort of one-time fluke. And I did eventually get the call from the dealership that the part came in like 4 months later, and when I got it, I just filed it away in my spare parts drawer and ultimately forgot about it until 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, I went for a long ride with a friend of mine down to the Mogollon Rim, and about halfway into the trip, the blinker stopped working. My blinker relay is acting up again. As you can see, when I put my blinker on, it doesn't blink, it just stays constant. Yeah, it's acting up. So when we did get to our first fuel stop, I took the panel off the side of the bike, popped the relay out again, tapped it on the side of the pannier, plugged it in, and it fixed the problem again. However, I realized with a really long trip coming up to Colorado, where I'm gonna be doing over 1,000 miles on the bike, and probably to some very remote places, I just don't wanna mess around with something that's proven now to be unreliable. So that's what we're here to do today. I just wanna show you very quickly how to replace this relay if this particular problem happens to you as well. So here is the replacement part that I received from the dealer. It is the electronic flasher unit. Let you guys read that in case you need to order this part as well. And again, this is a very specific unit to the 2021 model with the hazard lights. So all I'm gonna do is take this panel off, show you where the relay is on this particular model of Himalayan, and replace it. Job done, hopefully it works, and I never have to deal with this problem again. So let's get to it. All right, so the only part you need for this is a 4mm hex wrench. All right, so the relay is located right behind the right side panel on the Himalayan, and you only need to remove these 3 bolts because the bottom right bolt is a dummy bolt. So let's do that really quick. All right, so now that we have the panel removed, you can see a whole bunch of wires running through here. You can obviously see the battery tucked behind here, but there's this very clear small black box down here in the back corner This is clearly a relay unit of some kind, and if you read the label on it, it is labeled flasher control unit. So this is the part that we need to replace. This is what controls the blinking on your directionals as well as the blinking on your hazard lights. It's connected to the bike by a simple rubber housing that slips over a metal prong, so you just need to lift it off that metal prong, and once you've done that, you simply disconnect it and you can connect the new part. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this off of the little housing. Piece of cake. You can see there's the little metal bracket back there that it sits on, and this is the little rubber boot. You can see right there is the little sleeve that it sits on, and that's all it is. I'm going to pop it off now. It's just got a little clip that holds it in place, and that's it. That's the control unit right there. Now if you look at this, it says on it turn signal hazard. So this is how you know that it's the turn signal hazard relay. And again, all I did to fix this was tap it on something hard, and it's unstuck the relay, and it managed to work for another 4 months. And maybe that fix will last again, but I just don't want to take that risk knowing that I'm going to be going into the backwoods of Colorado. So we've got the replacement part right here. We're going to go ahead and put it in and swap it out really quickly. Opening up the new part. This is the new part. This is the old part. They do have the exact same part number on it. Everything looks the same other than the date. We should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and put this in now. Now it's important to know this also comes with its own housing, its own rubber boot and everything, so I don't have to take anything off of the old relay. I should be able to literally just plug it in, work it in back here. There it is, and that's all it is. I'm just going to get a little light in there to make sure it's actually set properly. And it's sitting exactly like it's supposed to on that little ledge, on that little metal housing, and everything looks good. It's not going anywhere. We are good to go. That was it. We just got to go ahead, put our cover back on. Always put the little dummy one in first, because it is kind of a little bit stubborn. Hand tight only. That's all there is to it. So now we've got the old part. We're gonna just put it back in the spare part bag and keep it as a reserve relay in case this one doesn't work out. But before we call it a day, let's actually test to make sure that this works. So what we're gonna do, turn on the bike, and we're gonna try the blinker. Hey, all right, it's working. So is the right directional. Let's try the flashers. They look to be working too. So all good to go. And that's all there is to it. Now, as with any job, it's always important to put your tools away immediately after completing the job so that you don't misplace something or forget. And we'll go ahead and seal up the spare relay in case we ever need to get back to it again. And label it, of course. My brain isn't what it used to be. And then tuck it away in my spare parts drawer and hopefully never have to use it again. And so that's all there is to it. I really hope that this was useful, and hopefully none of you have to deal with this problem and replace this part. But if you do, you now see that it is literally a 2-minute job. And honestly, the hardest part is just getting your hands on the replacement relay. So hopefully with the supply chain issues starting to ease up, it's not as difficult now to find this part. Now, even if you have a really hard time getting your hands on this part, like I did, it's always worth at least trying the quick fix approach while you wait. And that is take the relay out of the bike, unplug it, tap it on the table a few times, plug it back in, and you never know, that might be all it takes to unstick the switch. So thanks again for watching. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.